In the 1850s, the United States was tearing itself apart. The debate over whether to allow slavery into newly acquired Western territories was splitting the nation geographically and ideologically right down the middle. Legislative attempts to patch the divide completely failed. The Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854 and the Supreme Court's Dred Scott decision in 1857 only pushed moderates out of the room, leaving the federal government gridlocked by entrenched extremists on both sides. Enter Abraham Lincoln, a self-educated prairie lawyer from Illinois whose national experience consisted of a single term in the House of Representatives a decade earlier. On paper, this thin resume hardly qualified him to resolve a bitter national crisis where the country existed half slave and half free. The political establishment needed a heavy hitter to navigate the turmoil. So how does an obscure lawyer leverage a chaotic political system to his advantage and hold the United States together? The strategy started in 1858. Lincoln ran for the U.S. Senate in Illinois against Stephen A. Douglas, who was a formidable incumbent and an absolute titan of the Democratic Party. Lincoln opened his campaign with an aggressive play. In his famous House Divided speech, he explicitly forced the issue of slavery to the center of their debates, demanding that Douglas take a clear public stance on the expansion of the institution. During the debates, Lincoln successfully cornered Douglas into a moderate position. Douglas argued local communities could exclude slavery, alienating the fierce pro-slavery extremists. By forcing that compromise, Lincoln hammered a wedge into the national base, causing their critical Southern support to break away entirely. While Douglas retained his seat thanks to favorable local apportionment, Lincoln's strategic target was actually a much broader national audience. Newspapers published the transcripts of their exchanges across the country. Those texts elevated Lincoln from a regional Illinois politician into a highly relevant leading voice for the newly formed Republican Party overnight. He traded a regional election for the chance to dismantle his opponent's national base, proving that a high-profile loss can sometimes be more valuable than a win. 2 years later, at the 1860 Republican Convention in Chicago, the nomination was supposed to be a tight race between two prominent establishment figures, William Seward and Salmon Chase. But Seward and Chase despised each other. Their factions refused to compromise, deadlocking the delegates and preventing either from securing a majority. With the heavyweights neutralizing each other, Lincoln slipped perfectly into that void, positioned entirely outside the bitter Washington establishment. The delegates turned to him as their dark horse. By simply letting his rivals destroy each other's chances, Lincoln's team bypassed the party elites and secured the presidential nomination. This 1860 political chart lays out the chaotic election. The Democratic Party split its ticket between Stephen A. Douglas and John C. Breckinridge, while a third party nominated John Bell. The map below shows the country fractured into 4 brutally regional, competing pieces. The math worked completely in Lincoln's favor. With the opposition entirely divided, he easily captured 173 electoral votes, securing a clear majority in the Electoral College without coming close to a majority of the popular vote. As this satirical baseball cartoon highlights, Lincoln won the match against a frustrated field of opponents. He legally secured the highest office in the country, even though his name didn't even appear on the ballot in 10 southern states. Lincoln successfully threaded the needle of the electoral system. He won the White House. But his election confirmed the South's deepest fears about their fading political power, triggering the secession crisis he had spent his career navigating. Following the election, 7 southern states immediately seceded. They armed Confederate troops, captured federal installations like the ruined Fort Sumter, shown here, and fully launched the Civil War. The political tactician had to become a wartime commander. Lincoln pivoted his strategic focus, calling for thousands of volunteers and ordering naval blockades to directly crush the rebellion and preserve the federal government. His sharpest executive action came in the middle of the conflict. In 1863, Lincoln drafted the Emancipation Proclamation, seen here, shifting the war's objective from reuniting the states to abolishing slavery. In the handwritten text, he explicitly dictates all persons held as slaves shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free. The war concluded with Robert E. Lee's surrender in April 1865. Less than a week later, Lincoln's life was cut short when he was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater in Washington. He preserved the United States and liberated millions of enslaved people. But those historic victories were only possible because an obscure prairie lawyer knew exactly how to master the ruthless mechanics of the American political system.